Hopefully, things are progressing nicely for you as you keep learning more and more. Now, we embark on a deep dive journey into property development, specifically focused on building something with a primary objective of selling it later. This is a process layered with complexities, details, and various stages, each requiring a unique expertise. But fear not. We are here to decode this intricate orchestra, providing you with the necessary insights and guidance along the way. This process is not as hard as you might think. Again, I have my team of developers all along the Riviera Maya to put you in touch with who have a lot of experience. Dipping your toes into property development, especially if you're venturing this path for the first time, you'll observe that this process, much like an intricate tapestry, has many threads or moving parts interwoven to create the final masterpiece. It's not about the difficulty level, rather the myriad aspects to consider and handle correctly. So let's buckle up and dive into unmasking any doubts that you might have about this process, giving you an informed perspective. Let's take a look at the 6 steps, and then we'll jump into our client meeting. 1. The intricacies of property development. In the realm of property development, be it this region or anywhere in Mexico for that matter, 2 broad categories of developers exist. The first kind is those who build to keep and rent the property, making long-term investment, and the second type, what our focus is today, are developers who build with the primary intention of selling and possibly keeping one unit as their profit. If you belong to the second category, you'll soon realize that a robust and efficient sales force is an integral piece of the puzzle. The speed and efficacy of your sales team can significantly impact your overall profitability and return on investment. This is where my team can help you and we can discuss some sort of partnership. Let's not get ahead of ourselves and break down the various aspects you need to consider. Next up, understanding the development landscape. The Riviera Maya and Tulum, a hotbed of property development, offers lucrative opportunities for developers. As I mentioned, I'm a part of a lot of development selling land that this makes sense to do if you choose this route. As we know, this industry here is thriving, and if you play your cards right, a handsome return on your investment is almost a given. To put it into figures, developers typically expect a return of around 30 to 40% on their investment, a number that underscores the potential profitability of this venture. Talking about project timelines, especially smaller ones like what we're contemplating, the selling phase usually wraps up within a year. But it's crucial to remember that this is not a one-off transaction. Buyers typically make a payment in increments through the construction phase, which means you need to have a secure financial buffer in place. And that brings me to number 3, the role of a financial buffer in property development. As a developer, you must ensure adequate funding, not just for buying the land, but also for obtaining necessary permits, designing the project, launching and marketing campaigns, and covering a part of the construction cost and the land studies because we have cenotes here. Again, my team is here to help guide you and assist you if you need any sort of help. This financial buffer is akin to a safety net, allowing you to navigate any unforeseen challenges or potential hiccups during the early stages of the project. However, the selling pace of your units depends largely on the prowess of your sales force. A strong and efficient sales team can expedite the selling process, resulting in quicker returns on your investment. And now that leads me to number 4, a realistic selling timeline. Now, as a developer entering the market, the reality might be slightly different. You should be prepared for a slightly slower selling pace, averaging about 1 unit every 3 to 4 months if you do this yourself. That said, with a solid sales strategy and a dedicated team, selling all units within a year is a feasible goal. This timeline aligns neatly with the construction timeline, allowing you to sell units almost in sync with their readiness. Now we need to explore the profitability aspects. One of the significant attractions of a small project, unique and boutique, like the one we're about to discuss, is affordability coupled with manageable timelines. Despite the lower initial investment, the potential for profit remains high. Often, the profit for developers can be the unit that they retain. Remember, the success of your project and your return on investment is closely tied to your sales force performance. If they manage to sell the unit swiftly, your primary cost would be the land, design, and permits, which can be in range of $200,000 to $300,000 for a small building. The faster the units are sold, the quicker you begin recouping your investment. It's also essential to remember that you will usually collect about 50% of the total cost as the average down payment from each buyer, taking into account the various discounts the buyer can take advantage of. So now that we've laid down the details, let's envision a realistic scenario. Suppose you have an investment of 300 to 400,000. What could be your game plan? What could you expect and what would be the best strategy? To give you an exhaustive step-by-step perspective, let's delve into the numbers now. We'll switch to a call with a developer and one of my potential clients that outlines a developer's journey and associated costs, investments, and returns in detail. So let's get started.
Okay, so we're going to use this Excel as an example of us building a 4-unit development. Okay, we're going to need to buy the land. This is an example of a house. By the way, this was a house, but we're going to use the same principles. The land was 340 square meters, which you would need the same to do 4 units. Okay. You could actually even do 6, which is what I would suggest, but we'll get into that. So yeah, the cost is going to be similar, 75,000. Closing cost, non-studies, architectural project. This changes because now we're doing a multi-unit development. I'm gonna exaggerate some of these expenses just to keep it realistic. Because I rather tell you it's going to be more and it costs less than the other way around. This changes a lot because now we're going from a Paris to 4 units. The amount of construction would vary highly because we don't know what we're building, right? As far as our 1 bedrooms versus 2 bedrooms. Let's just say 2 bedrooms. Let's start high and we can always bring this down to something smaller. Let's just say that you build 4 2 bedrooms, and each 2-bedroom measured an average of 1,300 square feet. That would mean you would be building 4 2 bedrooms and 2 1-bedrooms, 2 2-bedrooms, and then 2 1-bedrooms, 65 each, 370. So just some rough numbers. We work with square meters, so bear with me. 370 square meters, and then we're going to need stairs, common areas, lobbies, plus 20% construction. So just very roughly, we would need 4,000. Let's say 4,800. So that would mean that the cost of construction would go to about 450,000. Furniture, you're not going to furnish them, but you are going to need how many? Okay, so this is a somewhat of a realistic estimate of over one over these. So land, I think we can find a piece of land somewhere between 3,500 square feet to 4,000 square feet. That's what we would need to build this idea that we have. Okay. That's going to cost anywhere between 75,000 and 100,000. So I put 85 there. Closing costs, because you're going to need to pay closing costs on the land, it's 6%. Okay, so $5,100 is 6% of this. Land studies, we're going to have to do land studies to see if the land is good, if there's caverns that we need to refill, etc. Architectural project, this would be the design and all the floor plans necessary to create the build. That's going to be about 25,000. Construction licenses and titles. We need to title them because we go from say a piece of land to 4 titles. So this titling process is expensive somewhat. I'm gonna say it's 60,000. And then construction is basically, it's like $90 a square foot, something like that. In case you want to know, what is the cost of construction? And this construction, it's not luxury, but it's above mid. So it's between mid and luxury. Hey, this is the quality that you're gonna get. If you want marble floors, granite counters, then maybe this is gonna be about 10 to 15% more. Okay. Common areas, things like, for example, you're going to need, the building will have a guard, and the guard will have a little office, or if there's a lobby, if we need to put decor in the lobby, if we do lighting, all of that stuff, that decor of the common areas, it's at your expense. So I put 15,000 for common area decoration, and then unforeseen events, things that could go wrong. And of course, within each of this, there's many other little expenses, right? So this is a very rough. Like this that says license, permits, titles, this is a bunch of stuff. The 60,000 will be spread about between 8 different authorities. So I'm going to give you the very simple schematics of things. So total cost is 664,000. Now have in mind, this does not include commissions. So I'm going to add here commissions. So we're going to have to pay commissions when it sells to whoever's going to sell. Right now, I'm not going to treat myself as the person selling it. Okay, right now my hat is a the construction company for now. So there's going to be a commission that you're going to have to pay to this company. It's generally 10% to 12. Okay, 10 to 12 of each unit they sell. Now that we don't know how much you're going to pay because we don't know where we're going to sell them. So this will be empty for now. Rental rev, none of this goes for this example. Okay, so forget all these numbers. This for zero. This needs legal and accounting. This is not the regular Excel sheet I use. You will spend $1,500 a month. It's a 18-month project. So that's $1,500 a month times 18 months. So you'll spend $27,000 in V1 accounting, roughly. Like to get this stuff organized, and I'll use it later. Okay, so 684, that's where we're at, plus whatever commissions are going to be paid. I think this is it. Okay, we'll revise this for you. This is just a very rough. Now, let's see. If we're going to sell, I'm assuming you want to keep a 2-bedroom, and you'd want to sell. We said we had 2 bedrooms and 2 1-bedrooms. So we have 1 bedroom to sell that's 120 square meters, and then we have 2 1-bedrooms to sell, right? So we have 250 square meters. So these are square meters that we could sell. This is not, because we're not selling on the building, right? We're selling what is sellable. It's 250. Why 250? Here's why I did 120 square meters. By the way, this is 1,300 square feet. Okay, so 120 meters plus the 1-bedrooms would be 65 square meters each. We can roll them. Right now, that's not important. So roughly, we have 250. And I say roughly because we can roll the units. And instead of 250, this could be 300. But then, of course, this will be more over here too, right? Yeah. So everything is relative. So let's keep it at 250. Now, how much are we going to sell each? What is our cost per square meter? So to sell, not a cost, I apologize, sales price. Sales, we're going to sell at $2,800 per square meter, which is more than what the market's doing. So 1,800 times 50 times 250 equals 700,000. So tentatively, you will produce this much in sales, right? Sales income. Now, here's what we'll minus commissions, okay? So I'm gonna minus from the 700,000, 12% just to give you an example. And this becomes 600,000. So value of unit, if you kept the unit that's 120 square meters, the value of that unit would be roughly 340,000. This is what it would cost me if I was to do your business model today.
Thank you for this great example and view of how you, with your expertise, sees what we're going into or what we're looking to go into. So I just want to say I appreciate that so much and your wisdom and time. Now, in us understanding this spreadsheet, understanding that in working with you all, there's certain commissions that would come from each one. Of course, we would have to pay you guys, and understanding that we would have to develop that relationship. If you were in our shoes, how would you go about this?
Well, if I were in your shoes, it's in your best interest to work with us. I don't think anyone can sell faster than we could, to be honest. But that's why I said to you, whatever example I want to give you, I want you to know that what we're doing is very different. Like we have a formula that is extremely efficient when it comes to the sales force. Obviously, the construction we have done because that's what I've been doing. So the whole construction development quality is your money, sure. It is. That's been my background, my strength. Today, now we have our own sales force. So this is what was the massive mover and shaker of things for us in elevating ourselves to where we are today, is being able to sell at a 3 times, 4 times faster speed than anyone else, which equates into not having to put out a lot of money, which put us in the highest ROI possible and the ability to start another small boutique project next year, 18 months, and then another, and so forth, right? And knowing this, okay, now you know the numbers. Now the question is, well, it's going to cost me 684,000. Do I have 684,000? I don't. I have 300,000. So now you have to say, well, I need a sales force. I need a sales force to go into business with. I want them to be as committed as we are, because at the end of the day, if they don't perform, who's the one responsible? You are. You need to build this, and it's going to cost you 685. And the minute that you have a client that signs on the dotted line, that agreement says when you will deliver. So you're making promises that you must come through with, right? So your biggest asset, if you don't have the 685,000, is the sales force. I don't want to give you the wrong expectation and make you feel that what we're doing is going to work for you somewhere else, because if that was the case, then everybody would be doing it. Having the funds is extremely crucial and important. If not, then, we'll have to wait till it's time. But the commissions don't come out of your pocket, right? They come, this is only until you sell. But that's why I separate it. But 684, you're going to need no matter what, right? 684 you need to build it. And in other words, if let's just say halfway, you said, Tony, you know what, we don't want to sell, we're going to keep it. This is what it's going to cost them, 684, okay? And if this was a proper Excel, I would tell you, you're not going to spend a single dime. Even if I end up spending more money, it'll come out of my pocket or out of my profit, because maybe I miscalculated, maybe the cost of construction went up, maybe I got fancy and decided to surprise you and give you marble floors instead of the original one, because sometimes we do that. And I put a little bit of money. Well, that's at my cost. But it ain't going to cost you a dime more. So you're protected when you build with us, that whatever we quote you, once obviously it's the final one, that's what it is. So you're not going to have any surprises. And saying, oh, guess what, Dwayne? Well, things are a little tough out there. Now it's 750, right? We're not going to do that. And say it's 684, it is what it is. Now, that's on the construction part. You don't have the 684, or let's just say you don't. I don't know the situation, but let's just say you don't. And you do depend on the sales force, and you do depend on sales funding the other half. If that is the case, I would recommend that you have 60% of this, okay? That would be my normal advice to a developer who wants to sell on pre-construction, okay? So 60% of that would mean 410. So it's right around the numbers you guys discussed or you had in mind. Why 60%? Why is that 60%? Well, if you have a decent sales team who can sell you at least one unit to help kind of launch it, you kind of gain momentum. And that's kind of the formula that we use. If you have access to 60%, then I would say risk getting into the development business if you've never done it before. Once you're doing it, you're going to go, I don't need 60. I did it with 50. Oh, my next project, oh, look, I did it with 40. Oh, look, I did it with 30. Here's what we would need. We would need the land. So we need 85,000. We need the closing. We need the land studies. We need the architectural project. These permits, we don't need them all. And we do need the legal. We need the unforeseen events. Okay, so far we're at 159. You see over here? Okay, then we would need, for permits, we would need probably like 30,000 of permits. That's, let's say we're at 200, and then marketing, branding, to get that out there, 220. Okay, so say 220. Then we would need a little bit, at least another 100,000 for buffer, which would be the one we would use to construct, assuming we got to the launching date, that when you have someone buying in pre-construction, if they believe they're credible, they're going to give you a down payment and they're going to sign an agreement that says that the condo will be built in 18 months, right? Whatever time is going to take. Your agreement says 18 months. So let me worry about how I do it. I'm going to deliver it to you in 18 months in quality, right? I know that to build 4 units, my team can do 4 units in a year, going at a regular rate, not going fast. But I'm going to tell my buyers per contract, 18 months. I'm going to give myself 6 months if I want to use them before I even launch the construction. So what I'm saying is that we would have almost 6 months to sell the whole thing off. Let's just say, I'm not saying we're going to do it like that. But if we did that, right, we have 6 months, we would sell the whole thing. We would collect 50% downs. We would have those income of 700,000, right? And then we got 50% of that. That's 350,000. And you guys have the other 300. We've covered the cost. These people paid us 50% down, but that's not over yet. We're going to ask them for another payment in a quarter, and then another payment in a quarter. So they're giving us quarterly payments for 18 months. We're collecting those quarterly and throwing them back into construction with the idea that you don't have to spend a dime more out of your pocket than the original 300,000, for example. Okay, and the 300,000 you got back in months' time. Now you don't take profit out until you build it. Right? You don't start splitting. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't partner up with anyone unless everyone knew there is no profit going out until the condos are done and delivered to the proper owners. Then you mess with profit. It's you put 300 and you wait till we're done, and it's going to be 18 months. Sure, that's the worst case scenario. The best case scenario is in 6-8 months, we sold everything. You guys have all the money, and we're sitting in a boat, drinking champagne, celebrating. It could be anywhere between 6 and 8 months to 18 months. I say let's go with 18 months as a conservative. Worst case to know that you guys you're not going to get your money back for 18 months, right? But then when you get your money back, if you sold the unit you have, well, then there's this much to go around between all the parties, right, participating. If you guys wanted to keep a unit, you keep a unit, who knows? But I think that now this is the value of the unit. That's not to say that's the ROI in cash. That's the value of the unit. These are the numbers.
Okay, so at this point, we've journeyed together through a ton of stuff, and I'm glad you're able to see the intricate process of property development in Mexico, dissecting the stages, discussing the potential returns, and hopefully shedding light on the numerous considerations that go into such an endeavor. As someone who navigates these waters every day, I'm truly passionate about helping individuals like yourself make the most informed decisions. Real estate development can be very lucrative and a venture if approached correctly, and I hope our deep dive today has brought your perspective closer to your understanding. As someone who navigates these waters every day, I'm truly passionate about helping individuals like yourself make the most informed decisions. Real estate development can be a very lucrative venture if approached correctly, and I hope our deep dive today has brought that perspective closer to your understanding. If you're considering taking this route, remember, you don't have to go into it alone. Sometimes all you need is the right guidance and the right time. Should you decide to venture into this exciting journey, I would be more than happy to offer my insights and my expertise. We can schedule a call, discuss your plans, and I can help you organize and link up with the right developer who aligns with your vision. Remember, the path to success often begins with the first step, and that first step can be as simple as asking the right questions. Don't hesitate to reach out if you have any queries or would like to discuss potential opportunities. My goal is to help you realize your real estate dreams in the best way possible. I want to express my sincere thank you for you joining me today. I genuinely appreciate your time and interest. Here's to taking these learnings forward, to building promising futures, and turning those real estate dreams into reality. Until our next discussion, take care and continue exploring the possibilities.